Hi, this is Tom Stone, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this demo of transforming suffering into joy. And we're doing that in a variety of different topics. And this particular session is with Sousa, and we're doing this we'll see if we can help her to reduce or maybe even eliminate a chronic pain problem she's been having. She had well, actually, I'll let her tell you a little bit about it. We'll introduce Sousa. Please, once you start talking, Sousa, the camera will go on you. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what's happened.
Hi, I'm Sousa Harry, and I had a bad fall about 2 years ago. I fell backwards onto a stone kitchen floor, and since then I've had very bad back pain. Even though I've had it treated, I haven't had an operation, but I've had it treated by chiropractors and attended Pilates lesson. I'm currently doing Feldenkrais as well, just to keep myself moving because I've got a lot of tension. I get a lot of pain, and I'm having to take several days off at a time. Everything I plan, I have to arrange around my chronic pain level. So I gave up two of my favourite jobs in order to accommodate my chronic pain and my downtime, which is not a good state of play.
Hmm.
Currently, I'm actually propped up in pain with my back right now. So
Hmm.
this is going to be an interesting demonstration.
Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate your volunteering for this session. And what I'll do now is to give a brief orientation so that the people who end up watching this will understand what we're doing, and also you will understand exactly how we're going to approach this problem. And then we'll get started. Okay. So it's good and bad that you're feeling the pain right now. At least if you're feeling it and we make some progress, you'll be able to tell a difference.
Yes.
Sorry that you're in pain, but we'll see what we can do about it. Um, in talking with Sousa before we started the recording, we tested from something called the Where to Start chart, and I tested with what we call intuition testing or muscle testing. And we determined that this level at which her pain is, even though she had a physical injury, that the pain that's stored in her body is like trauma. It's kind of like emotional pain, similar to emotional pain. It's very interesting that even if it's not caused by emotion, that sometimes we can approach it at this consciousness level, first level of this, what we call the Where to Start chart. And many people are finding that it's actually very effective. So we're giving it a try kind of as an experiment to see how it goes. No promises, but I've done 3 or 4 other people for chronic pain just in the last week or two, and every one of them has had phenomenal success in reducing the pain level. So we're very hopeful that we're going to have some similar results with Sousa. So we're going to use the muscle testing throughout the whole process to guide it. This is something that can be learned by pretty much anyone who has an interest. I've been doing it now for about 25 years, and I've trained thousands of people in how to do it reliably, and it can be done remotely. All I need is your permission, Susan, to test on your behalf. Is that okay?
Yes, you got
Yeah.
my. Yeah.
Okay. That allows me to tune into your station and get the signal that I can then amplify through the muscle test. Okay. So we're going to use a couple of what are called pure awareness techniques. One of them is called the in technique, and this one is for resolving traumatic pain that's held and stored in the body. And the reason that people tend to store their chronic pain in their body is that when we're very little, we all get deeply conditioned to try to suppress our painful emotional experiences because we get emotionally overwhelmed so many times, we just hate it. And so even before we learn how to talk, we learn how to start suppressing our emotional pain, and some people get very good at it. The problem is that when you suppress the pain, it's still in your body. It's still held in your body. It's kind of like when you sweep the dirt under the rug, it's still under the rug. It's very similar. So the thing that we get deeply conditioned at is this emotional suppression. And if we can't suppress it, then we get some help from, either legitimate medications, from the traditional medications, or whatever drug of choice we may use to try to self-medicate and, get out of the pain. So the unresolved trauma and pain that people have is actually the source of pretty much all addictions. So in this case, the pain is substantial, and when that's the case, you want to do whatever you can to just not be in pain. But most approaches to treating pain are actually just symptom suppressive. So if you take morphine, or if you take some drug to ease the pain, it wears off and then the pain is back, because it doesn't actually solve the problem. It just kind of masks it, right? And so in the work that we do, we're interested in working on the problem at the level where it truly lives, and seeing if it's possible to actually get the energy pattern that's causing the pain completed and completely resolved, so that the pain is simply gone. Okay, so it's more curative than symptom suppressive, if I can use that C word, cure. Okay, so our approach with the in technique is that what we do is we do something that's the opposite of what we're deeply conditioned to do. We're deeply conditioned to try to avoid the pain, go as far away from it as possible, try and suppress it. But what we're going to do is we're going to do the opposite. We're going to allow ourselves to feel the central, strongest part of the pain. The 3-year-old in us doesn't think this is such a good idea. But when we do that, what happens is we start to be able to begin to complete the incomplete experience of the sensation of the pain that's being held in the body. And the reason it's incomplete is because it was just too much to process when it happened. Or there's been an accumulation of it over time from many experiences. It could be like that, okay? And so as we allow ourselves to feel and just notice the central, strongest part of the field of energy of any one of the given pains that you might have, then what happens is when we allow ourselves to feel, just notice the central, strongest part of the energy of the pain in the body, the sensation in the body, what happens is we start to complete the incomplete experience that we're holding there that we couldn't handle when it happened. It was just too much. And based on our conditioning of the resistance to feeling things and suppressing, the habit of suppressing, that multiplies the problem, because it means that some people get so good at it, they just suppress their feelings so automatically they're not even aware they're doing it. So we're going to do the opposite of what everyone's deeply conditioned to do, and that's we're going to allow ourselves to feel the energy of the sensation of the pain, but we're going to do it in a very efficient way. And that is, when you focus your attention on the central, strongest part of the energy, this is where the essence of the energy lives. You don't have to feel the whole field of the pain. You just focus on the central, strongest part. And interestingly enough, it's not so difficult. Even though it's the strongest part, you think, oh, God, that sounds terrible. It's actually not that difficult. You'll see as we do it. And so what happens as you just focus on it for a while, you don't try to make it go away. You don't try to change it. You just sort of gently notice it. And this begins the process of completion of the incomplete experience that's being held there. And gradually, the intensity level of the sensation starts to soften and get less. Now, when it gets less, then we bring our awareness closer to what's left. That makes it seem a little stronger again, not because it is stronger, just because we're closer to it. But then gradually it subsides some more, becomes less some more. So each time it gets softer, we get closer to it. And what we're doing is we're completing the incomplete experience of the sensation that's held there. So sometimes if there's a lot of energy, it takes a little while. You have to be a little bit patient with it. And sometimes if it's really intense, if it makes you feel like you're going to cry or something, then you have to kind of back up a little bit and, you know, adjust the distance so you're not quite so close to it. But the key to success is keeping the focus of attention right into the center of the essence of it, which is the place where it feels the strongest. Okay? It's usually right in the center of the field. Okay? So that's the in technique. We may also need what's called the out technique, but we may not need it. And the out technique is quite different. It's for what are called reactive emotions. This is when you're, you know, disappointed, upset, that you even have the problem, and if we need to deal with that. If we do, we'll use that technique. And if we do, I'll explain it to you when we get to it. Okay? So we're going to get started. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the muscle testing to determine how many specific traumatic energies are there that we need to resolve in order to really eliminate the fundamental root cause of the pain. Because what I've found in these other sessions that I've done is there are kind of two different levels to the pain. One is the traumas that need to be resolved in this way. And then the other level is a kind of like clenching up, like tightening up of the body, kind of in resistance to, or in as a kind of attempt to compensate for the pain that's there. And that causes a lot of tension all over and its own pain. But that's a kind of secondary pain. Okay, and so what we want to do is we want to go after the deeper, more root cause pain first. Because when we eliminate those, then the need to clench up, to kind of, you know, tighten up and resist it, that's not needed anymore. So you can kind of gradually stop doing that and relax more and you know, come back into, you know, hopefully a normal way of functioning. My hope for you, Sousa, is that we can get rid of this so completely that you can go back to doing the things you love to do.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna see if we can make that happen. Okay, so we're gonna start now, and I'm gonna test. We have the root cause traumas that we need to resolve. The number of them is 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 3. That's fantastic. Okay. It's been similar for the other people, right? You know, now you have pain probably in various different parts of your body, but as you're explaining, it's mostly in your back?
Mostly, yes. Yes.
Mostly. And in the back, are there multiple areas that are painful, or is it pretty much one area?
It's hard to tell because it's like wearing an extremely tight elastic bandage around the whole of my core.
Okay, so it's a fairly broad area.
I would say if I had to hone it down to a point, it would be on my right side.
Right side, off to the right of the spine.
But quite low down.
Okay, okay. So it's quite easy for you to feel this where it is. It's like almost unavoidable, right? Yeah. So this is easiest done with your eyes closed. And I'm just going to test optimal to go for this central strongest one first. Yeah, let's go for that. So the way we do it is you just allow yourself to notice that area where the pain, that area on the right side you were talking about, where the pain feels the strongest. And you want to adjust the distance of how close your awareness is to it so that it's very possible to feel it. You can really feel that central strongest part of it, but not so close that it feels overwhelming. And it's, people don't know, but you can actually adjust how close to or how far away from it you are. So see if you can get it just right where you can really feel it, but it doesn't overwhelm you. And the key to success with this is to stay focused right into the center of the strongest area. Now, this is going to make it feel stronger than normal because your habit is to try and get away from it and not have to feel it. But today we're going to do something a little bit different. So how is that? Is it like doable?
Yes.
Very good. So we're not in a rush here, and there may be, you know, from what you described, the pain level's been pretty strong. On a scale of 0 to 10, what would you say the pain level has been?
It has been right up to 10 at times.
Yeah.
Today, all day today, it's been at about a 7.
Okay. Kind of good to get a little sort of measurement check there. Good. So it may take a while for the intensity level may seem to stay more or less the same for a while. And don't worry about that. The process that you're doing of starting to complete the incomplete experience is a kind of gradual process. And so the intensity level may seem to stay more or less the same for a while, but if you just kind of hang in there and be patient, not try and do anything to it, not try and make the pain go away, but just continue to kind of gently notice the central strongest area, what will eventually happen is the completion process will make enough progress that you'll start to feel, oh yeah, it's kind of like a little bit less painful. And when that happens, and if you just hang in there, I'm sure that it will. When that happens, let me know.
It's changed and it's more manageable, I would say now.
Ah, very good. This sounds like some progress. And by more manageable, it means it's like getting a little bit easier to allow yourself to feel it.
Yeah, it's kind of gone broader. So
Yeah, spread out a little bit.
yeah, it's almost as if it's evening out the pressure.
Ah, very good. Very, very good. Does there still seem to be a central strongest area?
It's even harder to pinpoint now.
That's
Yes,
okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
and
typically when it's changed like this, if you bring your awareness a little bit closer to it, that makes it easier to distinguish the central strongest area from the rest of the field. But this is good. This is actually very good progress already. Excellent. So bring your awareness a little closer. See if you can then sense better that there is still a kind of central core sort of essence to the place where the energy is almost like emanating from. And even though it's spreading out and kind of beginning to even out a little bit, you'll find there's still probably a place like that. So you keep your focus of attention right into that central part. And after a while, it will change some more. It's going to soften a little bit more. How's it going?
it's changed slightly. I've got like the bottom half of the pain is still a bit stubborn.
Ah, okay, okay. So don't have a sense of that, oh, I have to do something about it, or make it go away. Just allow it to have its own sort of natural timing. Don't have the expectation that it happen in a particularly time frame. You just have to be a little bit patient with it, because we're going through a completion process, and that just takes whatever natural time it takes. So go ahead and adjust the distance if you need to get as close to it as you can without it being overwhelming. Focus right into the central part of whatever's left that feels the strongest. And if it's like a particular half of it, then it may require a slight adjustment of where you're putting your attention. But you just notice wherever it's the strongest, and then gradually that will soften some more.
Yeah, that's definitely changed.
Change is good. That's good. If it
Softening.
feels
Softening
appropriate,
is a really good word for
softening,
it. Yeah,
softening is
that's really good.
excellent.
Yeah.
Softening is a good word. Yeah, great. This is exactly what we want. Softer is a good thing. So that means you can get closer yet again. Each time it softens, Sousa, immediately get closer to it again.
I feel I can sit upright a bit more now.
Okay, great.
The tension's gone out of my left shoulder, whether my back was holding the tension in my shoulder. It's a bit off. Everything's connected.
Excellent. Yeah, sure. This is just what I was talking about. When we get the root of it resolved, some of the other stuff is going to just kind of sort of, let go. The tension, all the tensions you've been holding will start to release. This is great.
My neck's released now.
Neck is releasing?
My neck is, yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
It's gone from there up to there, so that's all released. The tension's
Oh,
gone from there.
fantastic. This is great. We're taking the right approach. We're getting to the real root of the problem. This is excellent. Is it continuing to get softer, fluffier?
Yes, it's kind of where it's getting softer in one place, it's getting far more intense in the other place.
Ah, okay.
But
So,
I suppose because I'm homing in on it.
yeah, that's right. You're allowing yourself to feel stuff that you've been avoiding feeling. And this is really good because you're going through a completion process. Now, it may have different sort of layers or areas where, when one part of it starts to be less, the other part of it raises its hand and say, hey, come on over here. I need your attention over here. So it's kind of like that sometimes. And so we just go there. Sometimes these are even in a little bit different location. We call them having a backup copy. Yeah.
Well, interestingly, it's on the opposite side to where I normally feel my pain.
Okay, very, very interesting. Yeah, we're just letting the body guide us. And the way we do it is the body creates the sensation because it's telling you by having the sensation there, hey, I need your attention over here. Okay? And so we just comply with that. We just agree with that. And we go there, we give the body what it's asking for. All it's really asking for is just our attention. And so that's just exactly what we're giving it.
It's just getting a little bit more uncomfortable now.
Yeah, could be. Do you need to shift around, change where you're sitting or anything?
I think I'm okay here. It's just. Whew. So I don't take painkillers either. So
Good for you.
try to avoid that as much as possible. So.
Oh, that's great. How are you now? Okay.
I'm getting very, very hot.
Ah,
I don't know if
okay.
that's a side effect of this. Could do with a fan.
Well, there's this principle in physics that energy can't be created or destroyed, it can just be changed in its form. And sometimes people do find that when they're releasing or changing the pattern of the energy by giving it their attention in these techniques, sometimes the energy does turn into heat, actually. And heat is a kind of more diffused kind of quality of the energy. The energy is still, it's in the process of diffusing. So to diffuse it through heat, it's like, sometimes it feels like that. There's no problem. That's actually a good sign.
And the other thing I've been getting is like tingling in both sides, down the sides of my lower spine. It's like kind of ants crawling kind of feeling.
Sure.
Whether
Well, there's
that's
definitely lots of change taking place. This is all good. You may go through phases of change and have some different sensations and experiences like that. We'll see how it is after you move through those different phases. typically what happens is things just kind of settle down and become quiet and sort of peaceful and pain-free. So that's what we're after.
Right, it's definitely moved across now. So I'm more in the central spine sort of area now, rather than onto the one side.
Okay, we had determined that there.
Bone has been removed from the middle of my back.
Okay,
That's the
wow,
way I can describe it.
wow, that sounds good. So we had tested that there were 3 sort of areas, and so I think you're on to the second one now. This is good.
Let's come to the front of my spine now. More in the
Okay.
like muscles at the front here.
More change is good. This is all good.
Yeah, it feels. My back feels a lot more flexible now, because I find I have to bend it backwards and forwards just gently to try and release something, but actually that's quite different to how it normally feels.
You know, I was just thinking a few moments ago that this pain has probably caused you quite a limited range of motion.
It has, yeah.
So what you're just talking about is that that's starting to free up a little bit. Mm-hmm.
It certainly feels
And this
like
is
that.
quite common with, yeah, this is quite common. As the pain goes away, it makes it possible to move more easily. And I think you're starting to experience that. That's great. Very encouraging.
I've got this strange feeling that my left side is much longer. It's like I've been grounded in my left side, and as
Ah,
it's like my leg is sinking into the ground compared to my other leg, which is exactly the same place, parallel to my other leg. But this leg seems really short and tight because of the tension.
okay. Because of the tension. Sure, that would make a big difference. So it may be when we get rid of the underlying deeper stress cause, which is what we're exactly doing, and maybe that will have a tendency to kind of balance out and normalize and feel more similar as the tension is no longer there or no longer required.
It's focused over my, I forget the name of the point in the middle of your chest. Can't think what
Ah,
it's called.
yeah, the
Sternum. The
sternum.
sternum.
That's, yeah.
Yeah.
You're feeling it there now?
Yes, it's almost like heartburn, or I don't know what you call it in the US, but
Mm.
in England we call it heartburn.
Heartburn, sure. I know what you mean. We call it that in the US too.
Sorry?
Yeah, we call it heartburn in the US too. It's that, yeah. I know
Okay.
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very slight. There's nothing really much there. So I'm going to move on from that, I think, soon.
Okay. Appropriate to bring your attention there and feel into it like you've been, yeah, it's perfectly fine. If the body's calling out to you to come there and pay attention for a bit, we can do that.
It's nowhere near as difficult as this left side was. Oh, now the tension's gone from there. Suddenly, it's almost like a wave going over me. That's just dropped away like that.
Wonderful.
Definitely still got a band around my middle though, just towards the back.
Hmm. So where does the tension of that band feel the strongest?
Yeah, right in the middle.
Right in the middle. Okay. So put your attention there.
I think it may have grown a couple of inches. It feels like.
Well, we can check it out later.
I'm in my centre, so I have got a measuring aid here, so I could actually check that.
Well, it's quite common when you have a lot of contraction in the muscles. It kind of pulls people down, so it wouldn't be a
Yeah,
surprise.
how I felt as well.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Very contracted.
It's like
Yeah,
having elastic bands pulling between the top and the bottom of you.
yeah, exactly. Very, very tight ones. Yeah. As they loosen, and I kind of feel freed up and lighter and a little bit more expanded and extended.
Yeah,
That's great. Very good.
just the
Seems to be.
smallest amount now. I feel if they got tighter, they would actually chop me in half because they're so narrow.
Ah,
Obviously, I'm not
wow.
going to let them do that now. It's kind of right in the. It's kind of underneath where the band was now. It's just I can't quite see it in my mind at the moment.
Hmm. So just scan the area and bring your attention closer to it. And just scan the whole area and find the place where there's still some residual energy. And you'll find it because there'll still be some sensation there, if there is any.
Oh, the back of my, just at the top of my neck, the bottom of my neck, at the top of my spine, just literally went like.
Oh, great. Great.
So whatever
Wonderful.
I'm doing at the bottom is affecting at the top of my spine, which is
Sure,
great.
sure. That's
Oh,
very common for that top and bottom to be very
and
much
it's
connected.
so loose now. Oh,
Wow, this is great. Wonderful.
I can't remember the last time it was so fluid.
Excellent. Absolutely excellent. So scan that lower back area, sides, middle, whole thing. See if there's anything left. And when it's hard to find it, this is a good thing.
Yes. Oh, yes, got it.
A little bit there.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah. Click in real close so you can really, really sense the center of whatever's left.
Oh, sorry, my phone's going off. It's actually an alarm going off. Sorry.
No problem.
Oh, so
No
close.
problem.
I'm just testing my movements, see where it could be now.
This is good.
I definitely feel again more fluid in my trunk.
Yeah. Much more flexible, better range of motion.
Yeah, and with absolutely, it's like I've been oiled. That's how it feels.
That's great. Good analogy. Yeah.
It's definitely still something just above my coccyx, I think, probably where it is.
Okay. Let's go for that. I want to do as thorough a job as possible of cleaning this up. Yeah, go back in. Go back in and see if you can get that last little coccyx part.
Yeah,
That is
I've been able to go straight to it.
great, great. You're really getting the hang of this. You're learning how to do it. It's really good.
Yeah. It's diffused. It's kind of gone to my right now, so it's fading. It's fading from the left and staying at the right.
That's good. That's good. Just follow it wherever it goes. It's actually probably not moving. It's just
No,
that
I'm
as you
losing that.
yeah,
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 I'm
as
losing.
you complete something, then some other part becomes more obvious that was kind of in a way sort of hidden behind the stronger pain of the part that you're working on now. So this is all good. Yeah, you're doing it just perfectly. So really good.
Just gonna do a bit of a maneuver again to see.
Sure.
This is what I would not dare to do normally.
Yeah. We have a name for this, what you're doing. We call it a provocation test, which
Yes,
means
that's exactly it.
we're seeing if we can provoke it,
Yeah,
because if we can provoke it, then that tells us where there's still a little bit left.
yeah.
Very good.
I don't really want to lose you and then find that it's back somewhere else.
Oh, this is great.
I think it's just like residual muscle tightness in my, like over the top of the hips now. There's
Yeah.
virtually nothing there. I think I could probably work that off just by walking about. That's what it
Let's
feels like.
just check. Let's just check and see if we need to do any more feeling into that area. No, we don't. Now, you're
No?
exactly right. What you said is very insightful, very good. You know, like when you have a cramp in a muscle, and then when
Mm,
the cramp is gone, there's still a kind of little bit of achiness there.
yeah,
Yeah, and this is because the tissues have been kind of gnarled and kind of contracted. And even
mm,
when the energy that caused that is gone, there's still a kind of little bit of a sort of unwinding effect that has to take place. But this will just happen naturally. The body will just heal itself naturally on that.
yeah,
So
yeah. That's exactly how it feels.
yeah, that's exactly what's happening here for Suzanne. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. So still need to feel into the pain more. No.
Oh, I can't believe that this. I mean, it's less than an hour, isn't it? It's we.
Yeah, it's magic, huh?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll be able to do so many other things that I've had to give up. Well,
Yeah, you know,
trouble
if you really
you end
don't
up
want to
not.
go,
Sorry.
yeah, it's okay. Go ahead and complete what you're saying.
I was just saying, you tend to put gradually you're restricting what you can do, and you
Yeah,
start realizing that the things that you love the most are being put to one side while you wait for this to be resolved. Yeah, and it's great.
by following my instructions, Suzanne, you're giving yourself your life back.
I certainly hope so. Yeah, start a new phase.
Yeah, it seems kind of unbelievable when you first start to really get the results from this, like you're experiencing right now.
Mm,
Because, for 2 years, you've been living with this pain, it's been awful, and you haven't known what to do about it.
yeah,
Okay?
and also it's the expense of all these extra things that I've had to pay for to try
Exactly.
and just get me through day to day.
Exactly.
Mm,
And so here you are in less than an hour solving the problem.
yeah, that's exactly right.
And
Can't
you're
believe it.
smiling
Thank you.
a lot. You're smiling a lot. That's really
I
good.
feel very giggly now, like a schoolgirl.
Well, congratulations. You did a fabulous job. You
Yeah,
followed the instructions absolutely right.
yeah, thank you.
Okay. So if you just scan the whole area, does it feel like there's any pain or tension left? I mean, you have that little bit in the hip stuff that's going to kind of resolve
Yeah, I mean,
itself.
it's like exactly like you say. It feels like a residual tension that's not really there. It's just that the muscles just are used to it being there.
Yeah, this sort of,
If that makes
yeah,
sense.
this sort of, yeah, there's been a long-term constriction. And so it's
Mm.
going to take the body a little while to just kind of, and just a little bit of movement, like what you're doing, you know, maybe a little
Yeah,
walking or something. You'll have an intuitive sense of what'll be the right thing to do. And then you may also be very much inclined to rest a bit after this because there's been a
yes,
lot of healing going on. And there'll
yeah,
be still some healing going on because the body's still kind of normalizing itself from what it's been through. Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah,
what I'd like to do is I want to make sure that this lasts for you. Okay. And something else we need to do today in order to make that happen. No, it's already been done. Good. We need to deal with some of the emotional reactivity about having had this problem. No, when the problem's solved, you don't have to be emotional about it anymore.
oh,
That's great. High five.
definitely.
Absolutely wonderful. So what I'd
Yeah,
like to do is I want to make sure that this really has brought you a lasting result, right? Okay. So what I'd like to do is to check in with you maybe in a couple of weeks, okay?
yeah,
And just see how you're doing, get a little update from you, you know, what's happening. There'll be a kind of living into a whole new way of being here. You'll be able to start gradually doing some of the things that you weren't able to do before, and
yeah.
don't overdo it. Okay? Take it
No,
to
no,
gently move into it. Take your
yeah,
time to just ease into it. Okay. Very
yeah.
good. So let's do that. Let's follow up in a couple of weeks. We'll have maybe 5-10 minute conversation online like this. We can get an update from you. And then probably what we'll do is do that again in about maybe 3 months or so. Because we really want to determine here that we've got a real permanent solution. And if something comes up in the meantime, we can always do a little more, you know.
Oh,
I
that
can
would be
guide
lovely.
you a little more.
It would be good. That is my one worry, that it might come back.
Now, one thing you can do that will help with that is we have a free app. It's called Awaken Your Inner Greatness. And
Oh,
it's an app where you can close your eyes and just swipe the screen to the right, and it'll give you the audio instruction of the next step of what to do, just like what I've been doing. Okay.
oh, I see. That's
But
very,
the cool
yeah,
yeah, but the cool thing about it is you can do it at your own pace. You don't have to rely on somebody else. You know, so when you felt you finished doing what it instructed you to do, and you can keep your eyes closed, you can swipe anywhere on the screen, just swipe to the right, and it gives you the next instruction. It's very cool. It's a great app, and it's free. It's free in the app stores, and you probably have an iPhone because I recognize that sound of that alarm.
yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm looking at an iPad, and I've got an
Oh,
iPhone. Just
great.
you are correct.
Yeah, and I'm talking from my Mac, so we're all Apple people here.
That's sometimes
Great.
quite
So
on
I will
that.
send you the link. I will send you the links to the app stores. Okay, you can
Oh, thank
download
you.
this. It's called Awaken Your Inner Greatness,
Mm.
and it has in it all links to our free website. Both the app and the website membership are completely free. Okay, and
Right.
you can go to the website and get detailed instructions for how to resolve whole range of like 10, 12 different things like depression, anxiety, resentments, grief, heartbreak, stress, fibromyalgia, which is like chronic physical pain, you know, there's all those things, detailed instructions in the site. So anything like that. There's also a couple of topics that are, one is about increasing your intuition, being able to have better intuition, and one is about being able to make better decisions. Okay?
Mm.
And
Mm.
those two applications are in there because
Yeah.
those are two parts to a chapter that I wrote in a book called Mastering the Art of Success, I was invited to be a contributor of a chapter. It was a book by Jack Canfield, the Chicken Soup for the Soul guy. He's like sold
Yeah.
500 million books around the world. Anyway, I know Jack. Before his first book was a bestseller, I had just learned to do the beginnings of this kind of work, and I just happened to meet him. He was giving a training at a company in the small town I was living in Iowa, and I was invited to meet him, and I met him. Anyway, he ended up having a session with me there, one of my early kinds of sessions, and that was before his first book was a bestseller, and then his book became a bestseller. So maybe I had a little something to do with it. Anyway, the karma came back to me because I got to be in a book with him, and I became a best-selling author last September because of the Mastering the Art of Success. Yeah, so now I'm a best-selling author, and I'm in connection with Jack. That was very good. So in any case, in the book, my chapter, which is the 4th chapter, is about being able to trust your intuition more, because successful people do that. They trust their intuition. Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, Winston Churchill, Albert Einstein, they all say to be successful, you have to trust your intuition. But the thing is, they know how to do that, but they don't know how to teach people how to do that.
No.
Now, the cool thing is, I know how to teach people how to do that. So that's brilliant. In the app. It's on the website. It's in the app, and the ability to stop making mistakes and start making better decisions, all that's there. So you can explore that, have a good time with that. And I'll also send you other kinds of resources and information of things that we've got going, different trainings and things like that. And if it appeals to you, you can take advantage of some of those things. And in the meantime, let's follow up in a couple of weeks, and we'll follow up again in a few months. And, I'd love to see you just have a whole new life here. This would be great.
Thank you very much for your time, Tom.
You're Excellent. So welcome, Sousa. Delighted to know you. You did a fabulous job, and we'll be in touch in not too long. I'll make an arrangement with you for the timing of the follow-up by email.
Yeah. Okay.
Fabulous.
Bye then.
Bye-bye.
Bye.